Hi guys, Love Me here, and I want to welcome you all to my personal pause. This is my first one for the month of August. Really quick, I do two twice a month, one on the first Friday of the month, and then I do another one on the third Friday of the month. So, if this is your first time checking out one of my personal pauses, really quickly, I'm going to explain what a personal pause is. It is when I take time to reflect on whatever I want to reflect on. It could be childhood, it could be adulthood, it could be parenting, it could be some issues that's going on in the world, it could be things that are not so important, but just something I may want to talk about. So, yeah, I try to make these videos no longer than 15 to 20 minutes long. So, um, that's that. This is going to be part two of A Child's Innocence. I talked about this last month in one of my personal pauses, and I really got going, and I felt like I was going to have to do a part two. So here is my part two. Excuse me, guys. Here's my part two. So lately, I've been really, like I said, just observing my youngest son and just how he is navigating life for him. Even though he's 7, he's still learning the world around him and navigating good choices and making right decisions and learning from mistakes and imaginary play and connecting the dots with certain things in life. And I've been fascinated by watching life through his eyes, and I've really been fascinated with him being a kid and his energy for play and his energy for make believe and his energy for storytelling. He likes to tell stories from things that he's watched and just regurgitate it back and give his point of view on it. And I just think that's so neat and so wonderful. And like I mentioned in my last video, which I'll try to leave a link down below to that first video about the children's innocence. Um, oh, and just another sidebar, there will probably be a lot of pauses because I want this video to be relaxed. I don't want to feel like I gotta rush to get this information out or what I'm trying to say out. And I really want to feel like I'm engaging, with you all. So I try to make these personal pauses thoughtful and just relax. So again, sometimes you may see me look at the camera, sometimes you may see me look up. It just depends on where I'm at in my thought. But this is just, I just want it to be a natural talk. So anyway, all of that aside, um, back to what I was saying. So, like I said, I've been enjoying watching him play, and going back to my childhood, I played outside. I was a tomboy. I would play with my older boy cousins. Um, on my street, I didn't have a lot of girls on my street, so the family down the street, they had 2 boys and a girl, but their daughter was a little bit younger than me, and she didn't really like to play rough. Um, I like to climb the trees, jump off the trees. I would play tag with the boys. I would get in dirt. I didn't mind getting dirty. So her older brother, me and him were the same age, and we were best friends. And I remember one day I came home because they didn't have grass in their backyard. It was all dirt, and they lived right next door to my grandmother. And then we lived 3 houses up from them. So it was an interesting dynamic because my grandmother lived 4 houses down from us, and then my friend, he lived right next door to my grandmother. So anyway, one day we were out playing, and his dad would his dad had a big semi truck in their yard, and they didn't use it. I never saw that semi truck be used. But anyway, we were playing, and I think we were playing hide and seek. So I went to go hide, And I decided I'm going to hide under the truck. Now, again, there's no dirt. I mean, there's no grass under this truck. So I hide under the truck. When I got up, I was so full of dirt, but I didn't care. I had fun. And I went home. My mom was so upset. She was like, "You're so dirty." And I got, I had to get a bath. The tub was just filthy. But I remember just being able to play carefree. And now, when I look outside, I don't see kids playing a lot, especially in my neighborhood. And we do have some kids in our neighborhood, not not a lot, but we have some kids. But you don't see them playing. And when they do come outside and play, it's really like for maybe a half hour or hour. When I'm out there with my boys, we're out there for a couple of hours, playing. And I let the little one, he likes to, he's digging a hole, taking his construction toys out and using those and talking about the different toys and talking about what he's doing with the excavator, talking about what he's doing with the backhoe and, what he's digging for. Um, he rides his bike up and down, then he'll switch to his scooter, then he'll pick up a cricket, he'll pick up a worm, and, he plays and he has fun. And I just think that's such a beautiful thing. And I just feel sad for kids that aren't doing that, that they're not having a childhood. And again, I know this is not happening all over the world. This, what I'm speaking about, is an isolated, I don't want to say isolated situation, but again, I try to draw from my personal experiences. So I don't want anybody to take what I'm saying as I'm saying everybody does this, because I know everybody does not do this. I know there's plenty of kids all over that they play, they get out there and they play and they don't have a screen in their face and this that, and the other. But like I said, I'm talking about my personal experience and things that I see. um I don't see parents out with their kids engaging with them. um Even when I take my youngest son to the park, I try to be mindful not to be on my phone. And even if I do get on my phone, I try not to be on too long. I really want those times when he's out and he's playing for me to be in the moment. And that doesn't mean I'm staring at him as he's playing the whole time, but we're outside, we're in nature, and it's a beautiful day, So it's like I can look up at the clouds, I can listen to the birds, I can just take in the scenery along with watching him play. And like I said before, in my other video, middle school was a hard time for me because that's when I started seeing the changes from us being kids to us started to be treated, I guess you can say, well, of course, teens, but then also young adults. But that push to be more so adult like versus kid like was made more clear in middle school. Um, Again, the conversations that kids were having were not conversations that 11 and 12-year-olds and 13-year-olds and 14-year-olds should be having. And even the dynamic of middle school, as far as the building itself, was just so different from elementary. When we were in elementary, we had recess, we had a playground. You go outside and you play, and you had different parts of the playground that you would do whatever you wanted on it. Then when hold on guys, I'll be right back. Okay guys, I'm back. So like I was saying, when I was in elementary school, we had a playground, we had recess, we would go out and play. Then when we got to middle school, sixth grade, because where I live, sixth grade went to middle school. They're kind of bringing that back to where they're having sixth grade in elementary. But when I was growing up, it was sixth grade. You went to the middle school, so you had sixth, seventh, and eighth, and then you went to high school for ninth through 12th. But anyway, so like I said, we get to middle school, and I'll never forget the first day of middle school. Um, First of all, you with a whole bunch of different kids because you got different kids coming from different elementaries to this one middle school. So that was a shock right there, and just seeing all of these kids. Then the way our lunch was set up, the girls ate separate from the boys, and it wasn't like that in middle school. In middle school, the girls and I mean that it wasn't like that in elementary. In elementary, the girls and the boys, ate together. But in high school, um, in middle school, they changed that because there was like a some type of incident the year before my grade came in, so they segregated the boys and the girls during lunchtime. So anyway, so we would have lunch, and then, like I said, I'm talking about the first day. So then we went outside for recess. It was not recess. What I thought recess would be. I'm like, where's the playground? There was no playground. All they had was the basketball hoop. So the girls stood around and talked. And I think I didn't pick up on it, but now as an adult, that's when the clickiness started happening, or that I noticed. But like I said, I didn't really know that's what it was. But seeing girls whisper, pointing at other girls, and so you're just like trying to figure out, where do I fit in the midst of this? And that was a big culture shock. It really was, because not even, months ago, I don't know how many months, but a while ago, not even that long ago, I was at a playground at a school playing and doing hopscotch and playing tetherball and the monkey bars and all of that, and then nothing, just standing outside, and I didn't like that. So anyway, um, that push to be more adult was just very noticeable, and I think about it now as an adult, and I think about all the kids I grew up with and how we were just such in a rush that, oh, I can't wait until I'm 18. I can't wait until I'm this. I can't wait until I'm that. Now look at us. We are adults. And I see some people regress. Some of us had kids early. My first son I had when I was 19. I know girls that have had kids younger than that. And then they've had multiple kids, younger. By the time they were 20, some of them had 2 or 3 kids. Um, but we're adults now, we're in our mid 30s, and I see some people regress back to, they want to be a teenager, they want to be carefree, and it's like, no, we can't do that. We have responsibilities, and I don't want that for my youngest son. I don't want him to crave being an adult so much to where he's rushing to do that, and I don't think he will, and I don't believe he will, because my husband and I are trying to foster being a child as long as you can enjoy being a child. Even sometimes when me and my husband have certain conversations, he's a very inquisitive child. The 7-year old, very inquisitive, wants to know what's going on, why this, why that. And there's certain conversation that my husband and I have that, it could be related to bills, it could be related to a situation that's outside of the family, it could be related to something within the family, but it's more um the situation is more so me for me and his father to deal with. And he'll ask, oh, what are you guys talking about? And we have to let him know sometimes it's an adult matter, don't worry about it, your dad and I are dealing with it. Or we'll just say it's nothing you need to be concerned about, because I don't want him to be concerned about things that he shouldn't be concerned about. So um like I said, I've switching gears, I've noticed people trying to, they want to be teens again, they don't want to take care of their responsibilities, and it's like, that's not good. We rushed to be an adult, and adulthood wasn't what we thought it was going to be. And now it's like I see people clamoring to be kids again, and I just, that's not going to be my son. It's not going to be him, because we're going to do our best, like I said, to let him be a kid for as long as he can be. He helps out with his older brother. For those of you who don't know, really quickly, my oldest son has special needs. He has cerebral palsy, a nocte brain damage. He's tube fed. He's in a wheelchair. That's just a little bit about him, but just so you guys can follow along with me. My youngest son likes to do his Hoyer, to get him in his chair, and I'm there supervising. He wants to try to help with the medicines, which I can draw. I draw the medicines. I don't let him touch the medicines as far as drawing up the medicines, but I draw up the medicines, and he's at the point to where he wants to help put it in his brother's G tube. And I think that's for him. That's all. It's all learning. It's all him, trying to figure out how things work for his brother and stuff like that, which I'm totally fine with. But it's not something that he's expected to do, because there is going to come a point where he's going to have to be his brother's caretaker. And my husband and I will want him to take his brother on out of love, and not out of obligation, because his parents chose to take away his childhood and make him be an adult and say, hey, you take care of your brother, you do this. No, no, no. If you want to help, that's fine, but mommy and daddy will do this because we're his parents. And I know there's kids that are, that's some kids situations. um so I do want to go back and correct that one saying I was saying, as far as kids rushing to be adults. Some kids weren't rushed to be adults. Some kids were pushed to be adults because of their personal situations. Parents probably, I mean, we have to be honest. There's a lot of people that aren't the best parents. And sometimes that older kid or that middle child or whoever sees that, and they try to step up and be an adult or a parent figure for their siblings. Sometimes it's the parents' work situation. Both parents may work crazy hours. One may work third, one may work first, or whatever the situation may be. And that oldest child or whichever child may be more responsible, they may tend to go to that child more to say, hey, help out with your siblings. Or if they don't have any siblings, hey, you need to cook this dinner for yourself. You need to do this for yourself. And then the single parents, mom or dad, whoever the single parent is, their work, their situation, they might call for that child to take up the slack, and that can push children to be more in an adult role at an earlier age than what they may like to be. So it's an interesting, just these situations can be very interesting. And for those of us that are in these situations where you are a single parent, where you're a parent of a special needs child, whether you are married and your job schedule is crazy and hectic, we I think it's just we should try to be mindful to let our kids be kids. If we see them starting to try to do more things that's a little bit more mature for them in ways that may not be healthy. And when I say mature, I'm not saying in a good way, but um, now I'm kind of veering off to something totally different. But I guess I'll go that route. Um, I've heard people say to teens, enjoy your teenhood while you can, enjoy being a kid while you can, because when you're an adult, things change, and that is true. I've heard people tell kids, make mistakes while you can. I agree with that to a certain degree. Because then I've also heard people tell children, um, experience is the best teacher. And I agree with that to a certain degree. All experience is not the best teacher. Um, Kids having sex, and real quick disclaimer: if you do have kids around, you might want to have them leave out for this part. Um, Kids having sex at a young age is not a good experience. Um, there's so much emotional, mental, even spiritual ramifications from that, along with the physical. And if I didn't say physical, ramifications for that. Kids smoking at a young age, they shouldn't. That shouldn't be an experience that they have. Kids trying drugs, that should not be an experience that they have at a young age. For me, I grew up around people that smoked. Um, it was not something I wanted to do. I tried a cigarette one time, and I was with a group of friends from a summer camp, and the one girl had a cigarette, and she was like, "Hey, you want to try this?" And I was like, mm. I tried it, put it in my mouth, and I choked. I was like, ugh. I mean, the taste was just nasty. And I was like, nope, that's not for me. Um, Drugs, never tried drugs. I knew family members personally that did drugs. And when I went to summer camp every year, they showed us a anti-drug video, and it would be of teens in this video. And in the one video, the one boy tried a drug for the first time, and he died. And for me, that scared the mess out of me. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm thinking that would have been me. Let me try something, some type of pill for the first time, and I'd be the one, shaking or probably dead or whatever. And that scared me. So I didn't need that type of. I didn't need to try a drug to know that it was, wrong for me. And that comes with having open communication with your kids. And my husband and I, we try to have that with our 7-year old and meet him where he's at, mentally and also emotionally. Hold on, guys. But what was I saying? My youngest son just came here. Um, but I didn't need those type of experiences, and I'm gonna kind of wrap it up since he's in here now. But I don't know. I hope I don't need to do a part 3. Um, but I just wanted to share these things and kind of piggyback on that first video. And like I said, I will link that video down below. And that's it, guys. Thank you for joining me for this personal pause. And like I said, come check me out again for personal pause on the 3rd Friday of this month. Okay, bye. That's personal.